And if you listen very closely, you'll start to hear the roars of college football fans across the country gearing up for all the action. We're now just 1 week away from college football week 0, and there are no shortage of storylines to follow before we get there. No better way to set the tone on our college football coverage than sunny skies and sandy beaches. Hawaii Stanford going to kick things off for us on CBS next Saturday. One of so many games rolling out next week, but in an era of change, more of it is inevitable. We're seeing reports this morning of a potential push to expand the CFP to include anywhere from 24 to 28 teams. It's only an idea right now, but is it possible? Thankfully, we have a handful of insiders on the case, including our CBS Sports national football reporter and host of our College Football Insiders podcast, Brandon Marcello, joining us this morning. Brandon, the Big Ten reportedly flirting with even bigger expansion news there. What more can you tell us about this development and the future of college football?
Yeah, earlier this week, Commissioner Tony Petitti started socializing to his membership an expanded playoff that goes beyond 16 teams. I'm told that he prefers one of those models right now and that he's been pitching right now. It appears to be a 28-team playoff, believe it or not, based off of my sourcing here in the early goings this morning. A 28-team playoff, much larger than the 16-team format that the Big Ten has really been socializing itself over the last several months. Remember, they want multiple automatic qualifiers for itself and the other power conferences, but right now they're focusing and working on internally in the Big Ten models that would go as large as 28 teams for the college football playoff. This is going to be fascinating to watch in the coming weeks. The power conference commissioners, for that matter, all FBS commissioners, do not meet again in person to discuss the CFP until September 24th, but they do have calls almost weekly. And I'm sure that once the Big Ten actually gets all their ducks in a row of what this format is actually going to look like and then get some approvals within their own conference from the athletic directors and presidents, they will try to pitch this to the CFP as a whole. And again, it's going to be fascinating to see how the other commissioners and memberships react to this, because we're in the 11th hour already. They need to make a decision by December 1st for the college football playoff format for 2026 and beyond. And the feeling was that if they weren't going to go to 16 with multiple AQs, they would just stick with 12. And now the Big Ten is pitching an even bigger, grander idea with as many as 28 teams. I can't wait to hear what the other commissioners think of this.
Yeah, 28 is too much, Brandon. That's just what I am saying. But from your perspective, I know you said that this is still very early on in conversations and sourcing, but what do you make of a solution of what's next in this ongoing expansion saga in college football?
I have no idea. No one does. And that's the thing. Anybody that tells you they know what's going to happen, they don't know, because 4 days ago, no one would have said in their wildest dreams that someone would be pitching a 28-team playoff. So, again, we're in the 11th hour here. This might be a negotiating tactic. You know, you always put out the other extreme out there, and if everybody goes, no, we don't want that, you go back to, what about this 16-team model we were pitching you guys didn't really like? Again, remember, the Big Ten and the SEC hold the voting control power on the CFP's format. If those two can't agree, they'll end up just sticking with the 12-team format that we will see this upcoming season. So the key stakeholder here is, can the Big Ten convince the SEC that a much larger playoff with as many as 28 teams is something they would be on board with? I have my doubts, but we will see. Because, again, early goings here, and this is yet to be socialized with the SEC.
A little reverse psychology, a little Uno reverse, if you will. I like it, Big Ten. I see what you're doing. All right, we'll keep our eye on a very early situation there, Brandon. But with that, let's look ahead to the now, which is the 2025 season. Look, Billy Napier marked himself safe from that 2024 season, and now he's hoping DJ Lagway is fully ready for those QB1 duties. Of course, we know Lagway has been dealing with a calf injury. He's not really participated in any live action, only drills. Billy Napier did give us a little context about Lagway and his progress. He said, quote, I think he's doing great. I think he's on schedule. He's executing our plan, and I think he had a great day today. This, of course, was for ahead of their scrimmage or after their scrimmage. He said, I think he had his best day today. He took more reps today than he's been taking. Obviously didn't participate in the scrimmage, but He's hitting all his numbers from a throw perspective. The ball is coming out of his hand with more velocity than any time in his career. So, Brandon, it sounds like Lagway, despite the injury, is taking the steps needed, but we know he plays in the SEC. We saw what the Florida Gators did last year. Where are the concerns when it comes to the Gators and ultimately the health of their quarterback?
Well, for me, it's that he has a history of injuries, and not just in one area. It's been his arm, it's been his shoulder, it's been his hamstring, now it's his calf. This is a guy that has yet to play a full season because he's young, not in addition to all these injuries. So can he stay healthy, even if he is healthy week 1, throughout the season? That's a big question. And then elsewhere across the roster, they're dealing with a lot of injuries. Defensive lineman Caleb Banks has been out with a lower leg injury. They believe he's going to be okay for week 1. But my question is will he scrimmage later Saturday? Same with DJ Lagway. He's been out at practices throwing the ball, but will they allow him to scrimmage later on Saturday? That's going to be a big key to whether we see them play in week 1. Also, remember, 5-star freshman receiver Dallas Wilson, who I'm really high on and could end up being one of their top 3, top 2 receivers this season. He's also been dealing with a lower leg injury. He exploded in their spring game with 10 catches for 195 yards and a pair of touchdowns. These are guys that aren't just, depth pieces. These are potential superstars for them on both sides of the ball. And again, you can count this up as just early nicks and bruises in preseason camp, but we're late in preseason camp now. You got to get these guys ready for week 1. And I think we'll learn a lot more Saturday evening going into Sunday about the health of these guys because they're holding their second major scrimmage of the preseason camp.
Got preseason scrimmages, a really tough week 1 matchup against LIU on August 30th before they open the season against LSU, the SEC season, I should say, against LSU on September 13th. Let's talk about conference-less Notre Dame here. They entered the season with a quarterback battle on their hands a bit. I think a lot of people were expecting CJ Carr to get the start, but we've seen some reports that battle may be a little bit closer than what we anticipated here. They're going to open the season against Miami. Brandon, what read are you getting on who's going to start that game and how important will it be to set the tone for Notre Dame?
This is the most surprising development of the preseason in my eyes across the country. Everybody assumed, including people in the Notre Dame program, that CJ Carr was going to take over. Remember, Steve Angeli, his primary competition, transferred to Syracuse. And so everybody saw that as a sign of CJ Carr's the guy, right? Well, no. Kenny Minchey's been pushing him throughout the preseason here, and I would dare say that he's the leader right now to win the starting job based off of the people I have talked to around the Notre Dame program. Sunday, they hold a major scrimmage on campus, and I believe after that, they're going to be able to settle on who their starting quarterback is going to be, whether it's Kenny Minchey or CJ. And right now, I think Kenny Minchey, who has really come out of nowhere on all this, has the slight edge, and I can't believe I'm saying that right now. What
qualities does Minchey have that have been so surprising to see how strong he's been in this quarterback conversation?
He has more control of the offense. He's not prone to making some turnovers, making some mistakes. He doesn't take a lot of big chances, and that's really what the coaches have really liked. They kind of sided with so far. But again, coaches read a lot into live scrimmages when they go out there. Sunday is absolutely huge for Kenny Minchey, whether he can keep that slight edge or if CJ Carr can get back up and overtake him.
All right, so one surprise in one quarterback battle. We'll see if there's a surprise in another QB battle at Ohio State. Julian Sayin versus Lincoln Kienholz. That's been the two fighting for QB1 reps, although it seems like the former Bama commit has the nod in this one. Kind of a two-parter for you, Brandon. What will this team look like if Julian Sayin is quarterback 1? And what steps are you expecting this offense to take for Ohio State after the year they had last year?
Yeah, Ohio State will scrimmage on Saturday. I expect Julian Sayin will end up being the starting quarterback. I've been told by sources up there that he's been performing very well this last week of practice and is starting to stretch himself out away from Lincoln Kienholz for that starting job. What will the offense look like? You still got Jeremiah Smith at receiver. You're still going to be able to stretch the field. It's not going to look much different as far as what we come to see from schematics, right? The question is that once they get into that and they start playing, can Julian play clean football? If not, they will shorten the field a little bit for him and start leaning on the running backs. But right now, it's full steam ahead for Ohio State. Their offense is their offense, no matter who's the quarterback there. And when you've got guys like Jeremiah Smith being able to stretch the field, he's going to make any quarterback that's out there look much better than they actually are. But right now, when we talk about that quarterback battle, it's the Alabama transfer, Julian, Sayin, with the go-ahead nod right now, with another big scrimmage coming up later Saturday to maybe further solidify that.
Time to put those final touches. The season is coming up literally next weekend. Brandon, Marcello, we know you will be on top of all of it as the season gets underway. We appreciate your time this morning, and you guys at home can appreciate his time on our new CBS Sports podcast, College Football Insiders. Marcello, one of just several really well-sourced, very plugged-in analysts and reporters for us here at CBS Sports HQ. They're peeling back the curtain and bringing you the latest when it comes to college football. You don't want to miss it. Scan that QR code right now to get locked in.